Bitcoin has had a rough go of it, but folks, buckle up. According to Andrew Tate, Bitcoin is going to go to 26,000 because of all of you Bitcoin maxis going on max leverage because it can't go lower. And because y'all think it can't go lower, it's going to go lower. That, according to Andrew Tate, it's all the leverage in the system. It's going to wipe everybody out. Nick, what say you?
Yeah, well, for one, I don't think you get your advice from Andrew Tate if you're on the internet because a lot of people don't like him. Though, yeah, at some point, sometimes he is very controversial, right? But people, I've seen him online. He goes on Hyperliquid himself and does leverage, and he's getting wipes out, and you find out that he has like secret accounts, and it's kind of funny. And then he deletes it. But on a serious note, Bitcoin did take a beating since October 10th. It literally dropped from all-time highs down to 102 up to 115, and it's been bouncing back and forth, and we're sitting at 106 to 108 right now. But there's a few reasons as to why. One of the reasons is macroeconomics. For one, people are getting nervous about everything that's going on, but most of all, you have things like Russia and the whole world seeing what happened with the U.S. sanctions to Russia. They didn't allow them to sell their treasury bonds, right? So China was like, wait a minute, I'm not going to do that. That's scary. So I can't let them be in control if we do something they don't like. So one of the things they did, they started selling their U.S. treasury bonds and buying gold, right? And right now gold is sucking the air out of Bitcoin. Let's be honest with that.
Yeah, gold is crushing it. Gold has had a 20-year run of 11% annualized returns.
Yeah.
20 years.
20 years is remarkable if you think about that. I watched a show called The Gold Rush. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I've seen it too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And every year they're like mining for more, and it's going up. It's going up. Well, man, I can't wait to watch this season because it's absolutely out of control. But I think that tells you a lot about people are afraid. People are uncertain. We have the government shutdown. What are we at? Like 20 days, and now I think saying it might go to 40 days, 40 plus days, and I want to be surprised either way because it's weird how we could have some Middle East peace going on, but in our own country, we can't even come to a budget meeting where we could get along. And it's kind of sad, but I think a lot of people are fearful because of that. Mm-hmm. Like, oh man, well, I don't know what's going on in the Middle East because you didn't really see a stock market bump. Now, maybe they don't believe it's going to stay. I don't know. But right now, our country is going through a divide, and they're not working together. And that's a sad thing because you, like me, we love America. We love what it brings. The capitalism as well is great. But at the same time, we're divided right now. There's a societal divide, and we're trying to figure that out. And part of that is through money. Money's a big part of life. I mean, throughout history, money has been printed. Money has been scammed. Money has been everything. And that's one of the reasons there's fear in the market. Anytime there's uncertainty, the market is panicked. People want easy understanding, what's going on. So I think there's
so panic is bad for Bitcoin, but good for gold.
You know what? I'm going to say, this is a perfect time to buy Bitcoin, I thought. And I said, gold's sucking the air out of it. I'm so shocked that honestly, I thought this would be a moment where Bitcoin really starts to shine. But it goes to my next point. It might not have to do with anything about Bitcoin itself. It has to do with what you started the conversation with, leverage. So many people are using hyper leverage, 25, 50, 100x leverage, and they're chasing it. They're moving the coins and they're getting them cheaper. So that's two things. There's the leverage and there's lack of regulation in Bitcoin, to be honest with you. There's no wash trade rule like there is in normal stock markets, right? So you could sell your Bitcoin and buy it back for cheaper as you move the price down right the next day. In normal markets, you have to wait 30 days before you can rebuy. And by that time, you might have lost out. The market might have, rocketed in, and you don't want to do that. Well, these big players like Binance, they move their coins, get them back cheaper as people panic, people get afraid. And there's also another thing I wanted to mention. Big whales have been selling some of their old wallets. You can see it on chain. They had 200,000 coins. They're selling it and they're getting $9-10 billion. So I think even though that's a negative thing, you're also replacing old wallets with new people that are buying, new buyers. And the new buyer owns between a $95,000 and $105,000 Bitcoin price. So now you have people that, it's healthy for markets to have pullbacks. And I think that the fact that the market share of people that have money are really starting to like take notice. Do I think
Well,
fear?
yeah. So let me play with that a little bit, because again, I don't pretend to be an Andrew Tate fan, but I do think his. First off, I love people who make calls. I think 26,000 is just to get clicks. Let's be clear, but the topic he has, I want to pull on that thread because I think there's something there.
Sure.
Right. I've been creating content talking about Bitcoin casually for a couple of years. Right. I actually bought some in 2018. Right. So Eric, I guess it's been 7 years. I've casually talked about it. And, every time you casually talk about it, you get all of this kind of outside forces. You get the maxis and the haters. It's kind of it's fun to watch them in the comments. But I think Andrew might be onto something, right? All the people that I now have in my world that are pro Bitcoin, like yourself,
yeah,
they all seem to think now's a great time to buy. It can't go any lower. If you tie that to your point too, a lot of you Bitcoiners love leverage. So you think it can't go lower. So you lever up, and then the whales come in and yank your chain. Why can't Bitcoin go significantly lower if that's the kind of circle we're in?
I'd hate to be in a position where I have to agree with that part, but I absolutely do. The fact is true. It can go lower. Literally, these market makers have enough.
It can go significantly lower.
It absolutely can. People are lying if they don't think it can. It's very clear that if on October 10th, after hours on Friday, while China's sleeping, they can move it $20,000 of market cap.
Ooh, like in 10 minutes.
They got control. So anybody who thinks otherwise is completely lying. They don't know.
Well, that's a big deal. I mean, I want to keep poking at this because again, when we'll talk about me in a minute, right? Because I have my own investing journey. But anytime you are so convinced it can't go lower, and you lever up or go out on options or whatever, the market will smack you.
Yeah, they have a thing called Uptober and Moonvember, right? Everyone thought mentally that the last multiple Octobers and November, it has jumped up, right? And I saw that at the beginning of the month, it started pumping. I really think it was all the psychology. Everyone's believing this. So let them throw their money in, FOMO in, use their leverage, maybe margin, and then we're going to just kind of rug pull them.
We're going to rug pull them. Yeah, they're going to rug pull them, and they're going to go, ha, 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 whales are bigger, right? That's what I'm seeing is the little guys getting wiped out because they're so convinced it won't go lower. They ladder up 10, 20, 100 to 1. Then the whales on some Friday night when everybody's out just yank their chain and they're washed out. They're gone. They're back to zero.
Yeah, they're getting more coins. That's one way to do it. There's two ways to do it. They're either going to pump the number up so high that you want to sell, and then they're able to get more coins, or they're going to draw fear into the market, and they're going to make you want to sell.
Well, I know which one makes more money. Fear.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So not only are you getting the leverage people billions of dollars in a weekend, you're also getting more coins back and more money. But you mentioned
you get more people are scared. Yeah.
That was pretty interesting to me. You mentioned your own journey, and I actually had a question for you I wanted to ask.
Please.
One of the things we know about Dave Ramsey is he used to obviously over leverage a little bit in real estate, and he was making millions, and he got his loans called, and it really hurt him, honestly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bankruptcy.
Bankrupted him, and since then he's been pretty much antithesis of Robert
cash.
Yeah, cash is key. Cash was everything, and it's kind of hasn't played out so very well considering how much the dollar has dropped over that time. I noticed that one of the days when I was listening to you this week, you talked about starting out in stocks and really losing your butt on it. I was wondering, I wanted to ask you, do you feel like it's kind of made you afraid to kind of get back in that market, and you just stick to what you know? And what's your journey upon that?
Yeah, so just to close on Dave Ramsey, because I think it's a great story, because I've actually wanted to ask him this question. So back when Dave Ramsey was I think in his 20s, he's newly married, he basically flipped houses and he became a millionaire. The problem was he used what was called 90-day debt. Yes. And the banks called his loan. He had no way to sell everything, and he went bankrupt. Now everybody knows his story. So my story was I turned $7,000 into almost $200,000 during the dot-com run-up. I felt like a genius. I felt like I remember saying out loud I was smarter than Warren Buffett. Here's a hint. If you ever say that, you're not. You better humble yourself or the market will. And I lost it all. I didn't lose it all. I lost 80%. So I went to 40 grand. And I remember I was in Europe, I was in Germany or the UK or somewhere, and I sold everything and went to cash. But to your question, absolutely. I was fearful. I didn't touch a single stock.
Yeah.
In fact, when I was employed and I got what was called RSUs, or I got, you were buying shares every quarter or whatever it was, an employee stock purchase plan, I would sell them all the time immediately because I was anti-stocks. All right, don't touch the stove twice. That said, I retired in 18. I spend more time looking at it. I started buying stocks. Oh, I don't know, probably 2024. I started buying my first stocks. Like I bought Tesla this year, back when that freaking governor, Tim, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
The Tim Waltz low. I bought Tesla at that time. I bought, some other stocks. So yeah, I mean, it was a huge part of my story. I've now kind of dropped that baggage. I really understand what I did. And again, I started this journey from 7 to 200,000 investing the right way, reading 10 Qs, looking at the balance sheets.
Yeah.
But what happened is on this run up to 200 grand, the less work I did, the more money I made. And that continued and continued and continued. And then at that point, I was just gambling. I didn't understand that I was, the boat was rising or the water was rising and it took all boats higher.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I was out on leverage and I had options and bingo, bango. In a matter of 2 weeks, it was, seemingly all gone. So it was 100% my fault. This is the experience I think crypto people are going to have, right? You got so cocky for so long and you just believe it's going to go higher. That's why I think this Andrew Tate, the thread that he's pulling on, I think could be dangerous. Right? If you get all these maxis who, at one time were millionaires and now they got, I don't know, 100 grand left or 150 or whatever it is, and then they go 10-to-1 leverage ratio, that could be gone in a weekend.
Oh yeah. Hour.
So, an hour, right? So I think Andrew's onto something. I mean, I would be very careful if anytime everybody thinks it can't go lower and then everybody ladders up.
Yeah.
That's a very risky place.
Especially with the Fed rate cuts coming, everyone just assumes M2 is exploding, the money printer's on.
Money printer's on and asset this. And it's like, guys, be careful. Like there's no rules of this jungle, right? This jungle can eat you.
Yeah, I have a follow-up for you. So what was the difference? Because I know your first rental experience was terrible, but you fought through that and you kept going and you made all that you made. And could that parallel to if you would have held into the stock market? And what was the difference there?
The difference with our first rental is we did everything right and just a life event happened, right? We did like, unlike the stock where I was gambling, we had done all the boxes: credit check, reference check, employment check, all of this. What happened was the couple got divorced. She left. He became an alcoholic, right? Life happens.
Yeah. Life
and frankly, my wife, because let's be honest, I was ready to quit. I had just lost $160,000.
Yeah.
I had just bought a house on Norris Drive that, the guy screwed me, never paid rent. I was ready to give up. My wife, Olivia, 100% credit, goes, did we do anything wrong? And the answer was no. It's just like life happens.
Yes, it does.
They got divorced. And she goes, we'll try one more time. And because she said we tried one more time, the rest was history. The next tenant moved in, never missed a payment. We sold the house 3 years later, made 150 grand. It was all gravy. But yeah, there was a difference. We did everything right. Versus the stock market, I was clearly gambling and I thought I was smarter than Warren Buffett, which is not true.
Yeah. And with that being said, gambling is leverage or margin or option trading and doing all that. But buying spot Bitcoin is something I do recommend to people with your own money, especially dollar cost averaging. So you get the highs and lows and it equals something great. And I really want to put that down. Even this yesterday, I did a whole video on the psychology of how you're a genius and think you're so smart when it's going well and how you think you're so dumb when it's going down and how to fight through that. So I think it's important to really understand the difference.
No, dude, you got to own it. I mean, that's what I keep telling people. I think I talked about it last Friday or 2 Fridays ago when like $40 billion were wiped out or whatever, some scary, like 90, whatever it was, a big number.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you guys are in this thing, own your shit.
Yeah.
That way they can't take it from you.
Yeah.
This is a game where, again, the whales, Binance can come in and do some bingo bango and you're gone, right?
Yeah.
We're going to wake up and have nothing.
Yeah, don't get overconfident in anything you do. Even
Yes.
when it comes to real estate, right? You don't want to just let anyone in because you think everything's going well. You still got to
Yeah.
do all your due diligence. The same for
Amen.
you're watching your videos, you're reading your books, you're watching, daily financial from you and
Yep.
learning and growing, Yeah.
Awesome, Nick. Well, you're amazing. You're doing a lot of great stuff. You're helping people understand the psychology of Bitcoin. And you're making sure people do it right by owning and dollar cost averaging. Where can people follow you?
Yeah, you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lead Pray Hodl, and literally check out that video from yesterday about the psychology of investing.
Awesome, buddy. I appreciate you. Have a good day.
You too, buddy.